So, on today's show, we're going to talk about the spark that brings imaginative writing to life. We're super excited that you're here on episode 750 of the Sharvette Mitchell radio show. And our guest, Karen R Lacy, is hanging out in the virtual green room, ready to come up to the mic. So, we're going to get started right now. Don't you move.
Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Sharvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Sharvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting live from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard and seen all across the World Wide Web. And again, thank you so much for joining us here on episode 750 of the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. If you are live with us, listen, YouTube is already jump in. Shout out to Roberto over on YouTube. Thank you for being there, cuz. Shout out to my sister. Thank you for being there over on YouTube, Kimberly, Joe, Deborah, Marilyn. Thank you all so much for being here. Certainly those that are listening to us on our podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, all the places, Spreaker. Thank you so much for being here. And certainly if you are enjoying this content over on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. What you waiting for? Subscribe to our channel. That way you get the notifications and you don't miss any of our episodes. So this segment is brought to you by my 12-month group coaching experience called the Platform Builder Program. It's all around your marketing, your visibility, and your branding. This is for high achieving women entrepreneurs who are ready to stop hiding and ready to come off of the sidelines and come center stage in their business and their brand so that they get more customers. Join me at platformbuilder.biz and over on Facebook. The link for Platform Builder, the Platform Builder program is pinned right there for you. So easy connection point. We're open for enrollment right now, and I'd love to work with you in our January 2025 cohort. All right, so let's keep it moving here because my guest is waiting for us to say, hey, bring me up to the mic. Karen R Lacy is with us. She is a children's book author. She is a speaker. She is a writer as well. And Karen comes from a large family. She's the oldest of 6 children. Her early years were spent in the suburbs of Columbus, Ohio, where her and her siblings explored a wooded area behind their home and played many imaginary games. As a teen, they moved to rural West Virginia and had a great life, extraordinary life on the mountainside. And she encourages healthy imagination and adventures with children and promotes good and wholesome family values. And she's here today with our topic, the spark that brings imaginative writing to life. Put your hands together and welcome up live on the Sharvette Mitchell radio show, Karen R Lacy. All right, coming on up. Hello, Karen. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Sharvette. I've always admired you.
Oh, well, I'm excited to have you here to be able to chat and just talk with our audience here. So let's jump right on in, Karen. And so certainly, growing up and exploring the woods and playing imaginary games with your siblings, how did that experience and those early years really inspire the themes and the stories in your children's books?
Well, it's true that we were given a lot of freedom because our parents were busy and, that was a different place. So we had a wooded area behind our community, and then there was also a large open space. And we would go there and spend the whole day as astronauts or cowboys. And then I went to my grandfather's stream, and I can remember talking with the birds. And it's like all of that was really good, and it built for us a lasting skill of being able to have the imagination, to have a sense of adventure. And it followed through the rest of my life as for my writing. And some of my books, well, of course, with authors, you can't help but have yourself in it.
Right.
And there are some that have little bits and pieces of really pleasant memories. And I always love to have animals, talking animals, interacting with children, and that goes along with my theme. One book in particular spells out a game that we played, me and my brother and sister, before the twins came along, and it was The Travelers. And so somebody gave us a lantern. We pretended it was magic, and we would turn the dial, and we would go to different countries. In fact, we went to heaven one time, and it was really a lot of fun. So I pretty much encourage children to travel that same path.
Good. Awesome. Awesome. And certainly, your books promote wholesome family values and really encourage imagination. And so how would you say, you've been inspired to kind of focus on those themes in all of the children's books that you have written? And what does like imagination do for children?
Well, I think imagination really sparks happiness and the good things, the joy, and I want to promote that. And so that's why I stay on those guidelines on, having wholesome family values, and with my interaction with animals and all that, I encourage children to also go into the imagination, and especially with a time where there's so much other stuff going on, chaos and negatives. I want them to have a positive place to go when they're reading my books.
All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. And what would you say about your latest books? So you've got Granny. We want to hear about two. So Granny and the Mischievous Five, and The Exciting Lives of Cupcake and Reggie. So let's start with Granny and the Mischievous Fives. Tell us about that book.
Okay. Well, it started with me remembering all the fun adventures and fun things that I had with my siblings, and then my children, and then my grandchildren. So actually, my characters were easy to remember because they resemble one of those people in my family. And some of the incidences really happened. Maybe not exactly like this, but, very plausible. And I had so much fun writing it. My son really loved it. And he lived in West Virginia. I was in Virginia. And he'd call me up and he'd say, "Mom, did you include such and such in your book?" And I said, "No, I don't think I did." And he said, "Oh, I think it was significant." So I would find a place to write something about that. So Granny and the Mischievous Five was kind of like sharing a family stories, little bits and pieces. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun to write that.
Wonderful. And then The Exciting Lives of Cupcake and Reggie. Tell us about that book.
Well, they're in the other room. And again, this is talking about real life situations that have happened with our puppies, and they're talking to each other, what I would imagine them saying to each other and what they're doing, and it was so much fun. And at a time when it's like an empty nester, and grandchildren and so forth are busy with their own lives, Cupcake and Reggie really brought a family to me. And they started looking kind of pitiful as other dogs walked by and stuff, and so we increased our family. So I got them a brother from the same parents. So it's, three Lhasa Poos, and then along came Rocky and Rambo. So I have two Yorkie Poos. So my next book is going to include the three of them,
Oh, wow. And
which
I'm
is
which is
probably great.
yes, yes. Wonderful. And if you're just tuning in, hey there, you're checking out the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. And we are here with children's book author Karen R. Lacy in our 750th episode, The Spark That Brings Imaginative Writing to Life. And so certainly, Karen, you have written, okay, I've lost count. Like, how many books have you written to date?
Well, we've published 21 children's books, and I have 3 more in the hopper. My illustrator has them, and then I have 2 more in mind.
Wonderful. Okay, so you're just rocking and rolling. And how can listeners purchase? 'Cause I think children's books are great for we're in the holiday season, different holidays, Christmas, all of that. Where can listeners and viewers purchase your children's books?
Okay, well, they are on Amazon, but I'm not a famous author yet. So it would be easier and more practical to go to my website because all the books are listed there. There's a little blurb about them. You can pick and choose what you want to get. And then there's a link there for each book that takes you to Amazon. So I think that would be the most practical way to go to my website, which is KarenRLacy.com.
All right, beautiful. KarenRLacy.com, which you see on the screen. Those that are listening from Sharvette.com, look down below in the show notes. We have links to get to Karen. Also, if you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, look down below in the show notes. And certainly if you're listening to the podcast version, look down below in the show notes. We have the links there. So I think this is a great segue, Karen, to take a quick commercial break. But when we come back, we'd love to hear any type of feedback or rewarding kind of testimonials that you have received from either parents and or children. And then also I'd love to give some aspiring children's books authors, some advice and guidance. So we're going to let you relax back in the virtual studio for the commercial break, and then we'll bring you back up here live on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. All right. And listeners, we'll take a quick commercial break, and don't you move. Matter of fact, share this out with someone. We'll jump right into it right now. Don't you move.
Are you a veteran, service member, or family member struggling with loss? Forever Healed offers a free grief and wellness program just for you. Every Thursday, join a supportive community where trained grief specialists guide you through managing loss, from injuries and career changes to personal struggles. These sessions provide a safe space, tools for healing, and the chance to move beyond pain to find renewed purpose. Register today and take that first step towards healing. Learn more at foreverhealed.com.
So since being in the platform builders, I've had quite a few recent wins. One of them is I've actually assisted my client with publishing her book, so that was a major win for me. The other was launching my 4th book collaboration as a visionary author, so I'm very excited about being able to do that. And then the third one is I am in the very early stages of releasing my podcast, The Change Table. And that's very, very that's exciting and major for me at the same time, because I know that if I was not in this platform builders program, I would have continued to kind of procrastinate in that space. So that is a big win for me, preparing, just going through the motions to prepare to launch, and not just launch, but be consistent and have a strategy and a plan as it relates to launching my podcast. So those are some wins for me that I'm just very excited about. Also, it felt great to be able to do a brand photo shoot. That's a major win, just to be able to see my brand flourish in a different space, knowing that I am the face and I embody my brand, and doing a brand photo shoot has been absolutely amazing. So the platform builders has facilitated forward movement in all of those spaces in my business, and I'm just super, super excited about everything that's happening in this space.
All right. Thank you. Dio Greenway, one of our platform builder clients. And again, this segment is brought to you by my 12-month group experience with women entrepreneurs. It's called the Platform Builder. Jump over to platformbuilder.biz. Jump over to platformbuilder.biz. All right. So let's bring our guest back up live here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Put your hands together as we bring Karen R Lacy back up to the studio here and continue our discussion and conversation. And so, Karen, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about any feedback or testimonials that you might have received from either children or adults for any of the books that you've produced and published.
Okay, well, I had a really good experience at a homeschool academy where there were several children listening to me read a couple books, and they were saying, read another one, read another one. That was really nice.
Yeah.
And then after I had read several books, then I said, would you like to write books?
Oh.
And let's brainstorm. When I said the word brainstorm, they all leaned in,
Yeah.
So I said, well, what is a favorite animal? And they named off different animals, and we finally thought of a flamingo. And then where would you find them? And they decided, it might be in Florida or a zoo. And so then we just kept working it through. And what would you like for this flamingo to do? Well, is there another animal you would like it to have a conversation with? We just went on, and they were just lighting up. I could see it in their eyes. It was wonderful. And then another experience is when a friend of mine bought a book for her grandson, and it was Cupcake and Reggie. The Exciting Lives of Reggie and Cupcake and Reggie. Anyway, so I also gave him a little stuffy that looked like Cupcake. And she told me later that he has her reading it over and over and over and over. And he would say, Cupcake, Cupcake, and he'd take the little stuffy to bed with him. So that was really amazing for me.
That's precious, and that's impactful for children. And I really feel like that first story that you talked about hits the nail on the head for our topic today, the spark that brings imaginative writing to life. I mean, that is just amazing right there. And so if there are, people that are listening who are saying, hey, I, want to put my toe in the waters of writing children's books, if you could share a piece or two of advice with aspiring children's authors that would help them bring their stories alive, what would you say?
I would encourage them to step back and think about the experiences they had as a child, and to try to imagine themselves childlike in those fond memories, and to think about, like the brainstorming I was talking about, but especially to bring up the imagination that was in them at one time, and they can just work on that, build on that skill.
Oh, yeah. So good. So good. How can listeners and viewers connect with you on social media?
Okay. On social media. Okay. Instagram. Oh, you have it up there at Karen Rose Lacy, and then Facebook at Karen R Lacy Children's Books.
Wow. Okay. So I know, Karen, like with 21 published books under your belt, it's kind of hard. This question is going to be hard, but do you have any favorites? I know that's a hard question. Any favorites that are like babies,
Well, I can tell you several favorites. I guess the one about Cupcake and Reggie, because, they're my little babies.
Yeah.
And I so much enjoyed writing about them and having them talking about honoring things they were doing. That was fun. And I think my future book is going to be my favorite too, because it's about, my loves of my life, my children, my furry children.
Wonderful. So we will keep our eye out and our eye open for that. And how do you find time to write? Are you just in a writing cocoon all the time?
No, I don't go to the computer unless I have something I've already been thinking about or dreamed
Okay.
about, and then I go to the computer and just type away, and then I sit back and think of another scene, and then I go back to the computer. Yeah, I've never had writer's block because I don't sit there and think, okay, now I got to think of something,
Uh-huh.
and especially when I was writing the Exciting Lives of Cupcake and Reggie. I kept dreaming about a farm, dreaming, dreaming, dreaming. It's like, what does this mean? Am I
Mm.
supposed to move on a farm? My husband was sure that wasn't it. And so the latter part of the book is about them uh, overhearing their mom and dad talking about going to a farm and discussing, oh, I don't want to share the yard. Oh, no.
Wow. And so we have a comment coming in from YouTube. Hey, Roberto. What books would you recommend to middle school students? That's a great question.
Middle school students. But I do have a few that are for older groups, older children. And that would be like Our Little Friends about hummingbirds, and Does Granddad Have a Secret? This is folklore about Ireland. And the inspiration for that came from my grandfather, who was 4'11" and always blustering and bragging, and he was part Irish, and I pretended he was a leprechaun, so
Ah,
it was pretty easy to write this book about him. And so that is if a person is interested in folklore, and then the Travelers is like fantasy,
mhm.
and Cupcake and Reggie is a chapter book too. And so is Granny and the Mischievous Five. They're all chapter books. So,
Okay, great. So those are would be great examples for middle school students. And again, it'd be great to jump over to KarenRLacy.com and all the books. There's a children's book page, so that makes it nice and easy. Now, we don't want to leave out that you've also written other books that are for adults as well. So I'd love for you to just share a few minutes about your other books that you have.
okay. Well, I have a different pen name because these are more serious Christian books about struggles that we face
Mhm.
and bringing hope into it. Um, and I have Standing Through Storms, 4 fiction books, and then I have 2.5 a study guide with one of them in Faith and Hope Journey. But all of them are really essentially books of hope and faith and healing.
Oh, right.
And I share my own testimony in a lot of them, and then also I share scriptures. And I share encouragement.
Oh, right. I see your hearts going up for that. Thank you. And so your YouTube channel, I love you've got a good amount of viewership on your YouTube channel. And so tell us about your YouTube channel and how people can, connect and subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Okay, well, for my children's books, I have uh, it's Karen R Lacy 6308. And there I have story time. And so I read like 8 books so far. And they're for younger children. And I show them the pictures and read to them. And I didn't realize somebody liked it. But I will continue with that. It's just with the chapter books, I don't see me doing that because, on the video a long time.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
and then my Christian hope books of hope. I also have a link, and on there I have over 500 videos.
Yes, so lots of YouTube footage there. So connect, connect, connect. All right, Karen, I'm telling you, this time flew on by. My last question for you. The goal of this show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we want to know what continues to motivate you.
Okay, well, I was talking about all the fun adventures that my siblings and I had. That was in a very dysfunctional home, sometimes very volatile. But that environment did not harm us. And I am so thankful to the Lord that my gratitude motivates me to write and books of encouragement for good quality, good qualities. A lot of them have about generosity, teamwork, just joyful, fun, imaginative, and good healthy life.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important in a world right now where there's a lot of scary stuff and hard stuff for children.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to promote the good.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Well, thank you for your work, and certainly we wish you much continued success. And thanks for stopping by the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you. All right. Woo. Well, again, today's show flew on by. If you missed any portions, Sharvette.com is our main website. Sharvette.com. You can read our guest's full bio. You can watch or listen to the show, and all of the links for her connections are there. And then also you can check out any of our past episodes. That's a great spot there to do that. Yes, Roberto. Amen. Amen to that. All right. Well, it is a wrap for the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. We're going to see you next week, which is our season finale for the 2024 season. And then we won't be back until early January. So make sure that you join us next Tuesday for this season's finale. And again, jump over to Sharvette.com if you missed or you need to binge watch and you're like, hey, I'm listening to this on my break, and I need some good podcasts to listen to. Hey, you can binge watch Sharvette, which reminds me, if you are on Apple or Google Play or Spotify, make sure you subscribe and go ahead and give us a good rating as well while you're over there. Go ahead and subscribe and give us a good rating. All right, it's a wrap for today. We will see you all later on the web. Thank you so much for being here. We don't take it lightly. Bye.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you've been listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Catch Sharvette Mitchell every Tuesday at 6 p.m., interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This is the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.